Hey everyone, hopefully you're killing it in the markets. I know I've been getting killed more than killing it, but that's okay. I'm patient. We're in the right sectors, and I think it's just we're getting a little bit of pullback here. This is uranium. I'm going to do a technical analysis. My name's Andy, and my channel is Finding Value. So I'm going to go over a little bit of technical analysis, pattern recognition in the beginning of this, and then I'm going to say, let's look for those patterns and see if we can recognize anything. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to call this one a uranium technical analysis update. So here we go. And again, this is not financial advice, just my financial opinion. So this is bullish and bearish candlesticks. This one's a bullish hammer candlestick is what we're looking for. What it is you've got the opening price that opened. So this is one trading day. One trading day is known as a candlestick on a candlestick chart. We've got the opening price here, which means that that's where the stock opened at, and it was trading at this price. Throughout the day, it went down, and then the bulls reversed it higher all the way throughout the day, and it ended up here. So we have a long, what's called a wick. This is called a wick on a candlestick, this little stick figure wick. And then we've got a hammer because you can grab the wick with your hand and hammer something with it. It looks like a hammer. Same thing can happen even if you have a down day. You opened it, it came down, and then the buyers pushed it all the way back up, and it closed here with a small body and a big wick. So that's bullish hammer candlesticks. And what you want to see is you want to see it at the bottom of a pattern. So you've got to move down, and then you get a bullish candlestick pattern, and then the trend reverses and you start moving higher. That's what this hammer candlestick pattern is what we're looking for. This is a potential opportunity for a long trade. Now, we also have what I talk about this a lot, a bullish engulfing pattern. And what this is you have one trading day right here. You had a gap lower in the opening price. So this was the close. It gapped lower in the morning, it traded a little bit lower and went all the way up and closed up high. So you have a big candlestick body. And the body of this candlestick engulfs the one before it. It engulfs the opening and closing price of the body of this guy. This body engulfs this body of the candlestick before it, and it signifies that it's a reversal pattern and will most likely, with a higher statistical probability, move on higher. This is two bullish engulfing areas. You've got one here where we went up, and you've got one here with the probability of moving higher. And you can see that this is probably like a double bottom. A bottom here, came up, kind of bottomed here, and we're probably going to go higher. The bearish candlestick is just the opposite. You've got the candlestick before the opening and closing price of the body. This one means that it opened or gapped up, and then the bears pushed this thing down and closed it, and it engulfs the one before it. It's a statistical probability of going lower. And if you see this type of pattern at the top of a pattern, there's one right here, which is a bearish engulfing and a bearish hammer. That's going to go lower. Then you got a bullish hammer here. We came on up. And then we got a bearish engulfing here, and we went down. Another two bullish hammers down here to move up. So that's what we're looking for. Whenever these patterns, this is URNM, the ETF. This one consolidated up to a point, had a big sell-off with volume, and we're coming in this consolidation pattern. We got a bullish engulfing here, another bullish engulfing here. We came up, slow leak off of sellers, and we're trying to consolidate and find a solid ground here where we could potentially be bottoming at some point. We're trying to find where that bottom is. Have we found it yet? Not exactly sure. I don't see a bottoming pattern yet here, but we do have these bullish engulfings, which usually means that we could eventually move higher here. But I'd say usually what happens and what you can find sometimes, and I'm seeing it in some of these patterns, is you've got a bullish engulfing, it comes up, bullish engulfing, you see a slow leak off of sellers, and most of the time it comes back to where this one originated. Now's the time for the buyers to step in here and push it higher. I want to see that right here. I don't want to see a big move lower and more consolidating if you want it to go higher. So we're seeing that pattern over and over again. We're back to this beginning, and we need to see the buyers come up if we want to push this higher. They got to step in here now. If they don't, we're going to see a lower move. And it's like that in almost all of these charts when you look at them. The thing that's positive, you got a pretty good dig out of this with some big buying pressure and then a slower leak off of sellers. So we'll see if the buyers step in here. And we're seeing it on all these patterns. This is a hammer right here, a small little hammer. It's not a huge one. But we could see some buying pressure step in. Denison Mines, you can see the big two up days here. This is a bullish engulfing. And then the sideways movement of the sellers. The sellers can't really push this lower. Seems like the buyers have it under control. UUUU, same thing. We're back to where it started. We'll see if the buyers step in. URG has a bullish candlestick, bullish engulfing. We could go higher. We'll see what happens. UEC, it's trying to find some footing. At least the buyers are stepping in and showing that they exist. Sky Harbor, this guy, we have a bullish engulfing here. So I circled this because the bullish engulfing, and we're seeing a little bit more buying pressure down here. So let's see if the buyers can reverse it right here. A little bit more buying pressure. Canalaska is looking a lot better. We've got a descending type wedge pattern where it's wedging up, coming across a little bit. We've got two small down days here. I'm hoping for a big update tomorrow. Maybe the buyers can step in, push us out of this descending wedge, and start an uptrend. That would be good. And if you guys like Candlestick, I mean, it's up to you. This is not a recommendation. If it were me and I liked Candlestick, I'd probably sprinkle a little bit of money in here. That's where I would do it. Standard Uranium is still holding on. It's got a little hammer pattern to its pattern. Holding on. Baseload's putting in a hammer pattern right here. Hopefully we can get some buyers and some momentum to push this higher. It's been pretty... The sellers have been leaking this thing off for a while. Again, I would be a buyer right here and cost average in, but I know some of you guys get afraid of buying at lows, but that's probably what I would do. Global Atomic doesn't look too bad. Would I be a buyer here? I don't know. I'd still like to see buyers step in, but it looks like it's very similar to the other patterns that we're seeing. A little bit more buying pressure and move here. Slow leak off of sellers down. Goviax is throwing a hammer pattern. Hopefully this thing can get its momentum to the upside. Bannerman's putting in a bearish engulfing or piercing pattern. Hopefully, on some of these small companies, sometimes they throw false signals, so be careful. We got a nice little hammer pattern showing up with deep yellow. Whenever we come down to this period, it seems like buyers try buying it up. So I think there's some good support down here. Encore Energy's got a hammer pattern as well. Hopefully we can push on higher. Uranium Royalty Corp, every time we get around 240, the buyers come in and buy it, including myself. Fission, if you've got the cojones, now's the time to show them. You can cost average in a little bit somewhere down here. We do have a wick hammer pattern, and it is getting quite low. I would handle it with cost averaging. I would cost average in a teeny bit of money, see what happens, and buy into strength when you see some more strength. That's what I would do. This one, Pure Point, again, if you guys want, I mean, we're still in a downtrend, but if you see some strength, that's the time I would be pulling triggers. Centrus is just moving sideways. Little hammer pattern here, a little move higher. Lightbridge looks like it's real close to a bullish engulfing, but it's moving sideways. It's finding its footing. It is creating a basing pattern, and I think very soon, with maybe a little bit more time, we could see these things start to move higher. Boss Energy is basing out. It's showing who's the boss here. Tony Danza, right? Peninsula Energy, it is basing out as well. I think we're getting close. Give it a little more time. UEXCF, so UX Corporation, we got a little downtrend deal going. We still got to break it, but it doesn't look like it's just selling out of control. There's a lot of support through here at 22 cents, 23, 24 cents in that entire area. So there's good support down here. And then International Consolidated Uranium, looking at this one, it does look like it could go lower. This is a bearish engulfing, which means we could see a move lower in it. And this might be one that I want to enter whenever it finally bottoms out, because I don't own any of that. But that's kind of what I have for today. That is the uranium sector. It does look a little bit better, but again, we got to see the buyers step in here and show us that they're in control. We still have a lot of these ones that are down quite a bit. They're still in downtrends, and they haven't broken their downtrends yet. So we are still early. There are some that are showing some resilience. They're putting in hammer patterns. They're putting in a little bit of bullish engulfing patterns. They're at support. Like a Deep Yellow, a Bannerman, some of those type of companies, we're starting to see that. Is it going to turn and go higher? Well, let's wait and see what the rest of this week brings. If the buyers step in here and start pushing it higher, I will let you know that. Some of these, if you're brave, again, I'm not calling bottoms here, but if you're brave, you can put a little, cost average in. That's kind of what I would do if you're brave, and that's how I try to get my bottoms. You have to be brave when everyone else is scared, and that's where your money is made. But some of them, like this International Consolidated Uranium, still looks kind of weak. So if Candlestick can pull out of its descending wedge pattern, it pulls to the upside, it's evidence that the buyers are there and we're starting to put in some bottom. So I'm looking at everything and saying, where is their strength? And if we start seeing strength and we start seeing it across more and more of these companies, I think the bottom will be in. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys leaving comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.